Manish, talk to us about what you think the analyst community is missing from your report.
Well, I think they got it right in the sense that we have a little bit of short-term pieces that are in the business, which are coming because of the state differences. What we are seeing is certain states that are doing exceptionally well and other states that are not. And it is not 100% correlated to which states are open and which states are closed. For example, California and Florida for us are tracking well above our average growth rate, and Texas and New York below. And if you look at the opening, their presence, it's different. But we expect all of this to converge as things sort of come together. One of the big things I wanted to point out is that in February, which is one of the coldest months on record, our customers were searching for summer dresses and bathing.
Wow.
Summer dresses searches were up almost 200% from January, and bathing suits 150%.
Oh,
So
good. So
we're all
maybe
looking
we're
forward.
finally all getting out of our jammies, right? That would be some good news. Talk to us more about some of the trends that you're seeing. You have such good insight into the consumer. Besides searching for bathing suits and summer dresses, you also noted more, quote, going out clothes, right? What is that bode for demand on the horizon?
Well, I think being an asset light and adaptable marketplace where we have millions of sellers who are constantly merchandising, we have almost unlimited supply chains available because everything you want is available in someone's closet or someone's boutique. So what we see is that as the world changes, when we saw in Q1 of 2020 going to Q2 of 2020, the world adapted very quickly. Our marketplace adapted very quickly. We saw tie-dyed shirts, we saw sweatpants, athletic wear. And what we are starting to see is a shift towards actually people going out or planning to go out, which is great news for everything. Great news for recreation, great news for our mental health, and certainly great news for apparel and fashion business as we look forward to.
Do you see an increase every time people get a stimulus check?
We do see a small bump. We don't see the kind of increase you see in sort of other areas. But broadly speaking, I think our biggest correlation is when people use fashion more, we are 45% apparel. We certainly have seen strong growth when people were sitting at home. So we're really looking forward to when people are going out for events, weddings, dates, night out, which we've all been missing for, I guess, now a year.
We've been talking so much about the demand because we're all so excited to get out of our jammies and put on a bathing suit for the first time in a year. But I want to go back to the earnings report because there was something really interesting about operational costs, right? And some supply chain issues and some near-term postal service capacity issues that analysts had highlighted. How are you thinking about some of the operational costs of your business?
Sure. So we're an asset-light business. We have 80% plus gross margin. So that really gives us tremendous flexibility in terms of operating our business. When you look at our operational costs, they're really changing a little bit because of USPS congestion that we saw in Q4, which started to work itself out in January, and then we got hit with a cold wave, so it caused a little bit of congestion. But we expect that to stabilize and clean out. The other thing which we are seeing because of that in Q4 especially is a little bit increase in cancellation rates, not dramatic for us. What is surprising is that people were willing to wait a couple of weeks to get their shopping in the mail because they understood how congested the logistics systems were.
Interesting. And most of those have been worked out?
They're worked out. We actually hired extra people to service our customers and work through the system. At this point, actually, the logistics system is operating back smooth, normal. Things are shipping in just a few days, which is our priority shipping partnership with USPS.
We have to talk, of course, about you running a public company. It's been a month or two. How is it going?
Well, I feel like it's been an amazing and an incredible time. My focus is really to build it for the long term. So we are focused on our long-term growth strategies. At the same time, the level of communication that we have to do is, of course, very different than a private company. But it's also amazing to see the shareholder support, welcome a new community together with our employees and our core community of sellers, welcome the stockholder community. So it's been definitely a bunch of changes, but excited about this journey as a public company as well.
As you talk about some of those long-term opportunities, where does international expansion rank on your list?
It's right near the top. We just recently launched in Australia. We're 3 weeks into our Australia build-up. This week, we launched a charity closet in partnership with our board member, Serena Williams in Australia, which was very well received. We're in the community building phase in Australia, and as we start to get the community logistics worked out, we'll move into the marketing and growth phase in Australia. And we have many more countries that we want to launch in the near term and medium term.
You know, I asked our last guest this question, and I'm always so curious. As the CEO of a public company, we know you don't follow the stock movements day to day, but there has been a lot of concern recently about the share price of recently IPO'd companies who've been the big winners in this pandemic. And then, of course, some of the declines that we've been seeing for all of these high flyers throughout these tech markets. How are you thinking about some of the tech sell-offs that we've been seeing as people reevaluate valuations?
Well, I think valuations in the short term to me are based on very, very near-term trends. But when I look at the long-term trend, many of the businesses, including Poshmark, have so much secular growth ahead of us. So we're super excited about what we are building, expanding internationally, building out categories, building deeper seller engagement. Just today, we finished the rollout of videos on the platform where we had videos in short form in stories. Now you can embed them directly in listings, giving people chances to sell more things and tell a deeper story. And then we're building enterprise tools. So I think we are focused on the long term. I think so are many of the other companies. And over the long term, I think there's so much growth ahead for all of us.